In my 20s, I wasted years trying to decode people who already gave me an answer. I spent hours rereading messages, overanalyzing tone, holding on to potential. But what if the real answer was in how inconsistent they were the whole time? And the better question is, why did I need more than that to believe it? Mixed signals. That's what we're digging into today. I'm Yue.
And I'm Julie, and we're sharing what we've learned the hard way so you don't have to. Because
Right.
we've all been there. I was silently nodding to everything that you were just saying. Oh my God, if I could only get those hours back.
You don't need to silently nod. You can loudly nod for anybody listening to everybody. We've all been through this because we feel like we have to be detectives in dating and mind readers and psychics and palm readers.
I do think when you're detached, right? Like when we're looking back, giving advice from our 40-year-old selves. Yes, we are 40. I know a lot of people don't believe it, although there's probably people like being like, no, I do believe it. But we'll take it that you don't believe it. We are 40. We've learned a lot. And I feel like it's easier giving advice clearly when you're detached from the situation. But I remember especially like when I was like first dating in my 20s, just feeling like, I needed to decode every last thing and like figure out what everything meant. Instead of now, I wish I was just like, look, confusion is a cue, time to move on. Or ask something that gives a straight answer instead of being afraid to do that and get the real answer.
And I think sometimes, yes, people can be intentionally giving you mixed signals, but most of the time it's unintentional and they're just being very inconsistent and uncommunicative. And on the receiving end, you're like, oh, are they playing games? Are they playing hard to get? Is this waiting to text me back? Is this something calculated? Well, maybe they're just not prioritizing you. And that's probably why they're not communicating the way that you want to be communicated to.
The term mixed signals is actually quite interesting when you think about it. Like,
Mm.
what is this signal? And it just assumes that someone's into you, right? It assumes they want to be in a relationship the way you want to be in a relationship. And I think there's a lot of like assumptions in these signals and like thinking about it more. For instance, I could think of this situation where the guy would always text me, like every night I'd hear from him. And
Mm-hmm.
then anytime I like started to like kind of hint at a plan, he would be agreeable, but he would never take initiative to set anything up. And
Mm.
then, like, when I'd be like, "Oh, what about, like, Thursday or Friday?" He would, like, move the conversation along and would be just completely evasive to actually setting up plans. And in
Mm.
my head, I was like, "I don't get it," because, like, why is this guy even texting me if he doesn't wanna hang out? It's not like, if he didn't like me at all, like, don't even text in the first place. And it's taken years of wisdom to be like, first of all, some people just want attention. It doesn't always mean that if they're texting you, it means that they want a serious relationship. He could have been texting 8 other girls at the same time. Texting is pretty low effort when you think about it, and just seeing, like, what was his best option. But even more important, I think what I would have done differently is been like, "Look, this isn't working for me. It's not aligned with what I want and how I wanna move, so I need to let it go." Because that definitely happened the last time around, like, I kinda got into one of these again, and by
Mm-hmm.
then, in my late 30s, I was like, I'm done. I'm not gonna even try to, like, uncover it, like, I'm just moving on."
If I could face my 20-year-old self right now, that is the first piece of advice I would give myself is, are you asking the right question? And it's exactly what you just said. The question I used to ask was, why would he text me all the time, but he doesn't make plans? He must like me. The question was about why is he behaving the way he is, right? And we all go to that. But the right question is, how is he making me feel in this moment?
Right.
And the feeling is not good. The feeling is unsafe. The feeling is deprioritized. And that's the only answer you need. I
Yes.
used to have the opposite to you, Julie. I would go on these dates with this guy and like the dates were wonderful and he would take initiative. But in between dates, crickets,
Mm.
no texting, no calling, not even like a, hey, what's up? None of that. And just so I was so wrapped up in this world of, well, he must like me because we have so much fun together when we're together and he
Mhm.
wants to spend time with me. He's just busy during the week. What is he busy doing? And then I start spiraling. He's dating 5 other women because he's
Mm.
very busy. He's busy out drinking with the boys. Started having this other universe that I was creating. But now, as a 45-year-old self, I look back and I'm like, who cares what he was doing with his time? How did that make you feel? Unstable is how it made me feel.
And I guarantee you never said to him like, "Hey, it would mean a lot to me," or "I like when someone like we're in touch during the week," or like we could like say good morning or good night or whatever your need is. Like I
No.
guarantee you didn't say that either. Just bottled it
No,
up.
no, what I would do is he wouldn't text me in between dates, and guess what? I wouldn't either. It was a standoff.
Right, right. So I think there's like that side of it that we default to. And then I think like in current day where I feel like it's more encouraged to say your needs and, really like put it out there. I think sometimes it maybe even like swings too far that like really early on we're kind of like getting on calls and like really like demanding what we want to someone we barely know. And I think the question that also needs to be asked there, and again, I'm not saying don't advocate for yourself, like absolutely you should say what you want. And if someone can't meet it, then that's evidence and data that you need to know. But I think the larger question is like, do I want to be with someone that goes hot and cold?
Yes.
Like, do I even need to have this conversation with them in that regard? Like, I think for me, it was good to have those conversations, but I always kind of knew when I got to that point of having that convo, when you've only been dating someone for like a couple weeks, like it's probably going to end. Like, it's probably not going to be like, oh, you're right. I do never text.
Yeah, oh my gosh, I wasn't aware of my own
Right.
actions. And I think that goes to when we say mixed signals are a signal.
They are.
There really is no changing someone's mind because suddenly you're bringing this to light, like, "Oh, did you know you're doing this?" Because guess what? We've all done the same to someone else. I've given someone else mixed signals, sometimes intentionally, sometimes unintentionally, because I've deprioritized them.
Yeah.
There is a level of it's not interest or I'm not attracted to them. It's just in my priorities in life, this person is not at the top. And that's the answer.
That's why I think it's good to maybe know yourself enough and like what are the things in dating that are deal breakers to you and bring them up before they're an issue. Like, for instance, when I was dating my now husband, I shared with him that what was one of my biggest pet peeves of dating is when hours go by and I don't hear from someone.
Yep.
And at this point, he hadn't done that. But I just shared it. And I'm like, look,
Mhm.
like, this is the one thing for me that makes me really anxious. And like, it makes me feel like the whole thing is kind of unraveling. And I know like I'm getting in my head. And the way I was met was like, okay, now that I know that, I'm going to like do my very best to like not let a lot of time go on. Like, I hear you. I want to make you happy. And I'd never been met with something like that. I'd also never shared it at that stage. I'd
Yes.
only shared it when it became an issue. So I think you can actually learn a lot about someone and what capacity they have and how interested they are and get the right signal if you are able to share proactively before it becomes like, oh, you're doing something wrong.
That's such wonderful advice that I wish my 25-year-old self would have heard because a lot of times this comes out of defensiveness or it sounds like
Yeah,
you're criticizing someone. But if you get ahead of it and explain or to just acknowledge your needs up front, it sets the other person up for success. You're basically like,
right.
here's the blueprint to engaging with me. And if you follow the blueprint, we're going to be good. And if you don't, I think that says enough that you don't have the capacity to be the partner that I want someone to be.
Right, like, I coulda said to that guy that was always texting me, like, "Hey, I had so much fun with you." Like, for me, I really like when I can see someone at least, like, once a week at the beginning to,
Mhm.
keep up the momentum and get to know someone. I coulda put that out there, and then if he still was, like, cagey, at that point, I'm like, "Okay, this person heard what I said, and they're doing the opposite. Time to move on."
Yes, time to move on. I don't even think there needs to be another conversation.
No. But you're also not, like, criticizing them or telling them
No.
they're doing something wrong. You're just saying, like, "This is what works for me." And these are, like, low bar things. Like, these are not big demands that you're placing on someone. I'm sorry, seeing someone once a week when you're starting to date, like, that should not be like, "Oh my god, this person laid this out on me."
Yeah, I know. But if someone it does feel that way, then you have
Right.
your answer, right? And then you can walk away. And the other
Yeah.
person probably feels less pressured too, because now they're like, okay, I'm unable to meet that need. So we can go our separate ways. Nothing personal
Okay, can I talk about, like, the worst dating scenario of my life that
of your
kinda
life.
falls
Okay.
into this? And I
Dramatic.
actually I didn't even tell you this. I ran into this person last
Recently?
weekend
Shit.
for the first time. I hadn't seen him in, maybe at least 10 years, maybe longer.
Okay.
Anyways, so the scenario was a friend that confessed his feelings
Oh.
for me. Yes, that, told me that he really liked me. He's had a crush on me for all these years. So came in hot at the beginning, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hook up, of course. I'm like, start to be like, oh, maybe I could date this person. What if he was just here all this time?
Mm.
Start to come around to the idea. Then does the 180 and is like, actually, I'm not looking for a relationship anymore.
Yep.
But we proceeded to be a friends with benefits situationship before the word existed for 2 years. Very low
Mm-hmm.
point in my life. Very low point. But I hung
We've
on
all been
to
there.
mixed signals because I think it was like, one, he told me this at the beginning, so there's that effect, right? There's actually like a psychological principle for this that you hold on to the peaks and
Mm-hmm.
that's what like rides up higher. So like someone that when you had like that first amazing date with someone or they did something incredible and then all their subsequent behavior is shit, you hold on to that top. So I was doing that. I was also looking at like these areas that were very intimate. Like we'd
Mm-hmm.
stay up at night and like talk all night and like I'd share things and he'd share things that like wasn't with other people. So I was like clinging to all these like little things. And I really believe like I was in love with this person. And like
Mm-hmm.
it was only a matter of time till he came around. That to me is so dangerous looking back on it. And I wish I could have told my younger self that being like, he is telling you, he is flat out telling you, I don't want to be in a relationship. It doesn't matter what else he's doing.
So did he come around to last weekend? Is
No,
that what happened? He's like, "After all these years, Julie,
I mean,
now that you're married."
he does still send me messages on Instagram. Not like
Of
weird
course he
ones,
does.
but it's like, congrats on like the book or congrats you're like married. And it's like not creepy or bad, but I'm also like, what? It's not necessary. Like we didn't end well.
Yeah,
We're not
yeah,
friends.
yeah. But it's good that you have that reminder, and I also think it's so funny you do run into these people from your past, and I've never 0% for me of running into any of my exes or hookups or situationships, like
I see them
0.
all.
You see them all the time, these recurring not even recurring characters, but previous season characters. But what you just described is also what we see in email and DMs from a lot of our listeners who give us this really long, novel, long story of someone they're dating. And it's very nuanced, like the way you just did. And then they go, what is he thinking? Or why is she doing that? Or what should I do next? And now, looking back to the way you just told that story, it's like, regardless of how this started, regardless of the peaks
I
of what
know.
happened, how did he make you feel? Not good.
I think that is actually a big lesson is like, and I held on to this not just in this relationship, but in my other serious on again, off again relationship, the peaks, the high points, and you forget about all the lows. And I've learned over the years that the more consistent relationship, like the one I'm in now, it might not have as many highs, but it's overall my net feeling is safety, security, and happiness. Where before, the only reason you have the peaks is because there's the lows,
Yeah.
right? It's in comparison. And it took me a really long time to realize that, like, that excitement is not healthy.
Yes. Uh-huh. And the mixed signals is what I've learned is what makes me feel not grounded. Like there
Yeah.
is this floating feeling, if you ever had that with someone. Like when you're together, it feels so good and you just want to be glued to this person. But when you're not together, you feel completely untethered and kind of floaty. That's where the mixed signals create this lack of connection. But then when you're together, you think, oh, we are tethered. There is some connection here. And that's what makes you stay together. But we always say it's so telling when you're not with someone how you feel. And that floaty, like lost and, kind of, I don't know where this is headed or where we are. That's more telling than the time that you do spend time, time you do spend together.
So I was looking up just like some psychology principles, and there was one called effort justification, which
Mm,
is a cognitive bias identified by Leon Festinger. I just pulled it up because it's actually, spoiler alert, going to be an Instagram post. So I'm like, wait,
as it
this is
should.
something that we just recently brought up. And I thought to me, this was such a light bulb moment, which is why I'm sharing it here. Because what happens is the brain assigns greater values to outcomes or experience that require significant effort or struggle, which is why we
Mm,
hold on to toxic or
yes.
complicated relationships believing they are love. And your brain doesn't want to like feel like they've wasted effort. So I
Mhm.
feel like with mixed signals, it kind of like sends your brain into overdrive, like, right, trying
Yes.
to like understand what's happening. And it takes something that really could have been a very insignificant relationship and makes it feel like more important than it is. It makes
Yes.
you hold on a lot longer instead of what I would tell myself now is look at that and be like, this doesn't feel good. This isn't aligned with what I'm looking for. I'm done. And then you basically don't give the brain power in the first place. And you can look at it objectively what it is something that like is kind of like a fleeting moment that doesn't really hold any weight.
Yes. And that's exactly why they do team bonding experiences with in corporate because they want you to go through adversity together so that you feel like you want to invest more in the team and your coworkers. It's the same thing in relationships and dating. Feel like, well, I've spent all this time and effort on this person. I've
Right.
I've felt all these feelings for this person. There must be an outcome of some sort. And that's where the inequality comes in. And you mentioned sometimes it could be a very insignificant relationship. I would even argue sometimes you can experience mixed signals in a relationship.
That's
And
true.
that's what keeps you
That's
there
true.
way longer than you should. And I've
That
definitely been in a
is
relationship
true.
like that.
Yeah, probably that last one was,
Yeah, a lot of
yeah,
mixed signals, but the mixed like you said, like the peaks, you just remember the peaks, so it's like,
yeah.
"I remember he said that I'm the first girl he's felt like he could commit to," or "I'm the first one to make him feel
Mm,
healed." And then there are moments
mm.
of just complete, like, disassociation and stonewalling, all of it happens, and then it's just that push and pull, but then I'm like, "Ah, it's been 5 years, obviously this is gonna work
Right,
out because 'cause
sunk
I've spent
cost,
yeah,
yeah.
all this effort and time and wasted feelings."
Wow. I'm so glad you brought that up because I do think we sometimes think of big signals only in the early stages, but this is kind of what happens too when you kind of get further invested with someone where there was maybe big signals with from day one. Right? Looking back in retrospect, I want to go into this a bit more because I want to talk about like kind of where I think some of this can come from too of why we fixate so much. But before we do, let's take a minute to hear from our sponsors. I'm so excited to tell you about our sponsor, Avocado Green Mattress. Their certified organic mattresses are specifically designed to relieve pressure points, support your body the way it needs, and help you actually get the deep restorative sleep you've been missing. Every mattress is made with thoughtfully sourced materials and built with real care, so you get incredible sleep night after night. When I invest in something for my home, I want it to last, but I also want it to feel amazing every every day. My best friend has an avocado mattress and it is so comfortable. I swear I'm over there and I just want to take a nap. The best part is they're not only just good for you, they're good for the planet. Avocado products are made, not manufactured, thoughtfully crafted with real materials to deliver lasting comfort and support. Go to avocadogreenmattress.com/dateable to check out their mattress and furniture sale. That's avocadogreenmattress.com/dateable, avocadogreenmattress.com/dateable.
I've been doing a little spring reset with my closet lately, focusing more on quality over quantity, just building a wardrobe of pieces that are well made, versatile, and easy to reach for every day. And that's why I keep coming back to Quince. The fabrics feel elevated, the fits are thoughtful, and the pricing actually makes sense. Quince makes beautiful everyday pieces using premium materials like 100% European linen, organic cotton, and super soft denim, with styles starting at just $50. So I've been on the hunt for the perfect pair of jeans. I don't want them to be skinny jeans, but I don't want them to be too wide-legged either. And let me tell you, I found the perfect pair at Quince. Their Bella Stretch Relax Straight jeans fit me like a glove. I look damn good in them, and they feel so comfortable and soft. They're my go-to jeans now. Refresh your spring wardrobe with Quince. Go to quince.com/dateable for free shipping and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too. Go to quince.com/dateable for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/dateable. We talk a lot on Dateable about being present in dating, but let's be real. That's hard when your phone is basically a third wheel. Enter Brick. Brick is a simple device that helps you put your phone down when you actually want to be in the moment. You just pair your phone to Brick and it locks you out of distracting apps, and suddenly you're not doom scrolling while your date is telling a story about their childhood dog. Whether you're on a first date, having a real conversation, or just trying to stop checking your phone every 30 seconds, Brick creates boundaries with your tech without asking you to delete everything or go full digital detox. Dating is about connection, not notifications. So if you want to be more present and honestly more attractive, check out Brick. Go to getbrick.app/dateable to get 10% off. That's getbrick.app/dateable to get 10% off.
I know for me, and I don't know if you can relate to this, a big part of why I wanted to dissect all these mixed signals is that I felt like it was a way for me to feel like I had something important. And, I had friends that were all starting to pair off and like have relationships that were more serious. And I'm like thinking about like that situation I mentioned, the 2-year one that was kind of a lot of mixed signals, or at least in my head perceived mixed signals. He actually gave me a very clear signal by saying I don't want a relationship. But I chose to find the mixed signals. But
Yeah.
I think holding on to that was like, it was a way to talk to friends. It was a way to bond. It was a way to feel like I was part of it. I don't know if you've ever experienced that, but I think sometimes we need to look at like, why are we doing this? Like, are we doing this because like we don't believe there's someone else out there? Are we doing this to like fill a void or feel like we need to belong? And like being able to detach the reason, I think can help be like, is this actually worth my effort?
Or are you doing it for the story? Some
Yeah.
people do it for the story. When you become known as a person who is
Yeah.
going through turmoil in dating, then all your friends come to you for stories. They're like, "Oh, what's the latest?" Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You become that identity. And I get some people are like, "Oh, this is me now. So I got to come with a story next time." And also, we've been taught, don't forget, we've been taught for so long that relationships are hard, that you should be
Yeah.
working so hard and putting in effort. And there is going to be conflict and adversity. And you're going to rub up against certain topics and you're going to have fights and conflict. But we forget, like, that should be a two-way street, not just a one way of receiving all of that adversity.
I also feel like there's a big difference of navigating conflict together versus like bare basics of like,
Yes.
they're not showing interest in me, they're not making plans. Like some of this stuff, it feels like the very bottom of what someone needs to go through. I think we carry that over a lot of like relationships should be hard, but it's like missing the context.
You said the key word, together. Are we
Right.
navigating this together, or am I alone in this? And then I bring my friends into
Right.
this. That's a huge
Right.
difference.
I think anytime, okay, this is advice I wish I knew. Anytime you feel like you need to discuss with your friends,
Yeah,
that to me is a red flag that something's going on. That means to me that you need to discuss with the person, not with your friends, because the reality is they don't know. The only people that are aware of what's going on with you and the person you're dating are you and the person you're dating.
Exactly. And that's kind of a good gauge of, am I interpreting or
Yeah.
is this a fact? If you bring your
Yes.
friends in, gotta ask the same thing. Are we interpreting what's happening, this behavior, or are we bringing in the facts? And we got to really separate the two. Most of the time, 99% of the time in my 20s, I was interpreting the shit out of everything, just
I think
complete trying to translate something.
this goes back full circle to what we're talking about, like what even is a mixed signal? Because, for instance, if someone just isn't a texter, like they're not glued to their phone all the time,
Mhm.
they're not going to text as much as someone that is. And that has no indication if they like you or don't like you. I think we can infer that this is a mixed signal, that they're not texting as much as we would like, but that's only according to the baseline we have put forward. Asking someone like, hey, like, how do you like to communicate? Do you prefer calls? Do you prefer texts? Like, whatever it may be. Then you get to the root of like, are they just like, they're, I think it's a big difference if someone's like always on text and they're not texting you versus someone that
Yes.
isn't.
Yes. It's in comparison to the behavior that you are known for or they're known for. Is there a big now a difference in that behavior? Or is it a difference in what you are expecting the behavior to be and what the
Right.
actual behavior is?
And then what about this? Because I was talking to a friend about this. It's like they've been consistent, and then you have a great date, and the next day it feels like a little different, but it's only been a
Mhm.
day. Like, do you give it more time, or is that like something going off internally, your intuition feeling like there's been a shift?
That one's so tricky because I've definitely felt that myself on dates. You
Yeah.
have a really great date, and the next morning you wake up, you're like, was it that great? Or was it just because the lights were low and we had a few drinks and the music was good? The reality sets in. But I think in those moments, it's not about saying this is a mixed signal. It's about listening to how you're feeling and giving it another chance of being like, well, do I still feel this way in the presence of this person? Like, I don't think you need to jump right away to this is a mixed signal and I need to get out of this situation, but listen to your gut and go with it.
I think the other side too, if like let's say you do think it is a great date, but they're not as communicative. I think, we forget that people have lives outside of us sometimes, especially when you're really wrapped in with someone. And that there's a difference, I believe. There's a big difference of someone not responding to you for a couple hours because they're at work and busy versus someone that is like blatantly not making you a priority.
Yes.
I am a huge texter. I love to text, but I remember one time I was in a meeting for 2 hours and I came back and my phone had like blown up from this dude that I don't
Mhm.
even think we went on a date. Like we had just been talking on the phone and just telling me like this is why I'm still single, like all this stuff that I like
Wow.
can't communicate. And I'm like, dude, it's been 2 hours. Like this
Wow.
is yeah.
He was
So
trying to call you out?
yeah, like he was like sending all these messages like, why aren't you responding to me? And
Wow.
it wasn't like days had gone on. I do think to me that was actually really important to be on the receiving end because I used to be the one that would freak out if I didn't hear back. Because there's something
Mhm.
about dating that makes it feel like the world stops, right?
Yes.
And like the
Yes.
only thing happening. I do think again, it's like like sharing what your ideal is before there's an issue, seeing what
Mhm.
happens, but also is it a pattern or a one-off? I think
Yeah.
if, yeah, for like 4 days, you're hearing very loosely and it feels like word responses and feels short, then that could be something. If it's one day, I don't know if I'd jump the gun to believe it's like a mixed signal yet.
Yeah, collect that data, like don't dismiss it, but start collecting data and seeing patterns of behavior. That's all we're trying to do in dating is just collecting all this data and then seeing if this is a right fit. But ultimately, still go with how you're feeling. I mean, I'm glad that he was feeling that way and he told you. He didn't need to tell you in like so many words, but at least he was able to put it out there. I guess I'd rather have someone just put it out there than like harboring all that resentment and then one day blow up in your face about it.
Yes, I think there's a way to put it out there, though.
But yeah,
It's
no,
not
it's
a
the delivery.
it's
Like you don't need
the
to be this.
delivery.
Yeah, you don't
The
need to be this
delivery
like
is everything,
intense.
yeah.
Yes, but you don't want someone one day throwing this back in your face, being like, "Remember that one time you didn't text me back
Right.
for 2 hours? I didn't even call you out then." Like, okay,
I
great.
agree. I agree. Okay, so mixed signals, if we had to distill it into didn't listen to this whole episode, but we're coming in at the very end, what would our 3 things be for people as a takeaway?
Don't interpret, go with how you're feeling.
Yeah. Mixed signals are a signal. If you're feeling like a lot of confusion, that's something to tune in for and ask for that clarity.
I think 2 is enough. That's pretty good.
Okay, 1 for each of us. That's what we'll do. 1 for each of us, 1 overarching. Well, hopefully people enjoyed this. If you are experiencing mixed signals, we hope that this can at least ease those up for you.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye.